everybody, I'm Dr. Lisa Erickson back again, and let's talk about warming up for the body, especially in regards to the wrists and the forearms. So many climbers just head out there and jump on the wall, and a warm-up is really important because not only does it prepare those muscles for motion, but it also gives the joints a time to loosen up and limber up from our day's activities. Sitting at a desk all day or being a student holding onto a pen or a pencil all day long is really hard on the body. It doesn't set us up to be a phenomenal athlete. So if you look at all the previous Olympians, we definitely start looking back at the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics from years past. A lot of those athletes worked for the post office, and the reason why they did is because they were always moving, their bodies were loose and flexible, therefore they had less injuries. So let's start with some wrist flexibility exercises. I actually learned these from a guy named Mike Fitch. He owns Global Fitness, and he has this phenomenal class called Animal Flow. You might look him up online. He's got some great videos, but these warm-ups come from what he was teaching us. So just starting out with the wrists, we're going to do some wrist circles. Might kind of look ridiculous in the gym to be doing this, but we don't really care what they think. So we're going to warm up and just warm those wrists up. So we're just relaxing them. You might hear some pops, you might hear some clicks. I don't know if you heard my pop from over there, but my wrist just let out a nice big one. But I've been working at the computer all day, I've been seeing patients all day, and so it makes sense that my wrists would be tight because I'm always using my hands. So there's that, and then after a couple minutes of this, let's go the other direction. So let's say about a minute and a half of total of this type of stuff. You can spend 20 seconds going one way, 20 seconds going the other. Just listen to your body and you'll feel it start to kind of warm up and loosen up, and it might be that things are sore and painful, which is a warning sign, or it might be that it feels a little achy from previous climbs. Let's switch directions again, but just really getting some motion in there. The whole goal is to get you on the wall and getting these things to a point to where climbing is not arduous for these joints. So we don't want the only motion they see to be you trying that 512 or trying a V8 that you've never seen before. We really want you to get out there and not have climbing be so tight. Oh, that's the office manager. That's Hemi behind me. So doing both of those, hopefully it's feeling a little more loose. Hopefully you're not getting any clicks in there. If you're feeling any grinding on the sides of your wrists, or a pop every time you come around, that could be a tight tendon as it pops over the bone. So maybe as it clicks, look and see where that click is coming from, and you can trace that tendon, wherever it might be, up to the muscle that's attached to it, and that really gives us some diagnostic feedback for what type of self-care we need to be doing. So we did both of those. My wrists are feeling nice and loose and flexible, and then we're going to start going to the next one. So this one is we're stretching the top of the forearm at the same time we're stretching the underside of the forearm. So we're doing both sides. So I just have them kind of collapsed or connected in the middle, and then we're just slowly going to stretch both forearms. So first I kind of warm up with just a few of these guys. So we're just testing, gently pressuring the underside of the forearm. We don't want to be over stretching it. The goal with the warm-up is not to be whamming on things, really pushing them to their end range. I could see that before you try something dynamic after you've warmed up, but we're just slowly going to start just getting some nutrition, getting some oxygen into that area, and just getting some motion back in there so that it is prepped for you being on the wall. You shouldn't be pumping out your first couple climbs, and if you are, it could very well be because these guys weren't warmed up correctly. So kind of feel how that feels. Do you have one wrist that's tighter than the other? Are you noticing the underside of one forearm, or perhaps feeling it into the elbow? Left side feels fine. Right side, I feel a little something in my elbow in here. And that could very well be that I need to go in and do some self-care on that. So getting in there with my tennis ball to loosen that up in that area. So kind of going in there. If you have an arm aid, perfect time to focus on where that sore spot is and then go use your arm aid on it. Where you feel the tightness at. Make sure that it's muscular if you're going to be arm aiding it. So all of these are tendons, and then they become muscles further up. So if you're feeling it in the wrist, like say you feel it here in the wrist, that means you need to be working up here. If you feel it on the outer side of the wrist, on the underside, then you're going to kind of trace it back up to the outer underside of the elbow. So this is all the area we work with our self-care tools. But this is really, the tendons is a lot of times where our symptoms show up, and that may not be the area that we need to focus on with our tools. So just getting in there. So that feels nice and loose and flexible, so that is something to kind of focus on. So getting in there, making them nice and happy and prepped. And so now, after you're done, feel how that feels. If they feel exhausted and tired, you were a little too aggressive with your motions or took them too far to what we call end range, pushed them to the way too close to where that joint wants to bend. So maybe if it hurts here, don't go that far, just bring it to there so that we're not jamming that joint. So all of this is a learning process to see how your body responds to care, but also if things are tight and immobile, and this type of care helps it, that you're not pumping out as quickly, or your first climb goes well, your forearm's not even talking to you, or your wrist is happier, something you might incorporate into your normal daily routine whenever you're climbing. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed that.